Most creators still post on LinkedIn manually, writing every caption, designing every image, and spending hours every week. But here's the twist: you can automate everything: text, carousels, even image creation. In this video, I will show you the exact workflow that I use to build stunning LinkedIn carousel posts automatically, so that you can create content that looks professional, saves time, and get noticed. So this is the kind of post that we'll be automating to LinkedIn. As you can see, it has text and it has a carousel of images. And one thing that caught my attention is the fact that this kind of post is very popular lately on LinkedIn. This is another example as well. As you can see, you get the text and you have the images explaining what's going on. And I think that's why it calls so much attention. These images are beautiful and easy on the eye. So let's have a look how to create this step by step. First of all, we have our trigger. And for the purpose of this example, our trigger has been set to go off every day at 9 o'clock. Okay, so basically if you want to add any node, you always will click here on the plus sign. And then in our case, we want to add a schedule trigger. You click on the trigger. And in here, you are going to select how often you want this workflow to be triggered. In my case, it's always once a day at 9 a.m. Okay, so since I have done that, let me come back here and we don't need this. Now, the second thing that you need is a database with all the posts that you want to post. Okay, so in my case here, I have created this Google Sheet called AI Automation Ideas for Small Business. And in here, you can see that I have the post idea, a short description of what that post will talk about. And in here, I also have the schedule date and the status. So everything that has a to-do status is a line in this spreadsheet that I will create a post about. Okay, so in this case, our next post will be a post about the hidden cost of not automating simple data processes. So this is the short description, and the idea itself is why manual data entry is costing you more than you think. Once we have that database, the next thing that we are going to do is connect a node here, a Google Sheet node. And as you can see here, you're going to have to link your credentials. I already did it. So the resource is going to be this. The operation is going to be get a row. Then we always need to specify which spreadsheet are we talking about here. And in this case, I like to select by ID. I come to this part of the spreadsheet and I select this here. Okay, so anything in between these slashes here is what is your spreadsheet ID. Copy that, come back to N8N, paste it in here. And now we are going to select a spreadsheet within this document. As you can see, this is the only one that I have. So once I click here on from list, that I need to select it. This is the only option that I have. I will select this option. And what I'm saying here is, I want you to look at my spreadsheet and filter everything that has a to-do status. Okay, once you have done that, I always recommend you to click on execute step. For every node that you build, I always recommend click on execute step so that you know if it is working or not. As you can see here, 42 items has passed through. This means that we have 42 topics in my spreadsheet that has the to-do status. Okay, so basically I have 42 posts to create. So once we've done that, as you have seen, we have 42 items passing through, but we want to create one post at a time. So I want one idea at a time to be processed. To do that, what we need to do is add this limit node. So basically you are going to leave this as 1 and this as first item. Basically it means that the first item that has a to-do status will pass. Once you did that, what I like to do as well to clean up a little bit the data is to add a set node field. Basically in here, all that I want to say is I want this to select the topic ID, I want it to grab the post idea, the short description, the schedule date, and the row number. This is all the data that I need. And let me show you why I am doing this. Let's execute this node. Let's open it once more. Now you can see on the left, we have all this data here, but all the data that I want is these 5 fields. So I add this set node and I specify exactly the information that I want to pass to the other side. Now that we've done it, let's go back to our research node. The first thing that you need to do to be able to use this node is to create an account with Tavily and leaving a link down on the description. The good thing is they have a very generous free plan, so you will be able to do a lot with the free plan. The resource will be search, the operation query, and basically in my query, I am just dragging and drop the post idea and the short description, because this is what I'm telling Tavily to do a research about. Okay, I recommend you to leave the topic as general, the search as advanced, max number of results 5, and include answers. You can leave it as basic. If you are not seeing any of these options here, all that you need to do is just click on add option. Now let's execute the node and see if it's working. As you can see here, Tavily did a research on the first to-do topic that it was in our spreadsheet, and the topic was why manual data entry is costing you more than you think, which is exactly that topic that we saw here when we were checking the database. Okay, so why would you use Tavily? The main reason for that is for credibility. They are really good at researching the internet to give you credible results. Once we've done that, I have here a code node, and this code node basically just sort the data properly. As you can see, this is a bit of a mess. So let's execute this code node. And now you see that all our research is in one simple text string. So this is much easier for our next node, which is a basic LLM, to sort the data and make use of it. So in our basic LLM node, all that we have here is the prompt. The prompt is what we have in this research. Then I added here a system prompt, and the prompt itself is: you are a top performing LinkedIn content creator, write engaging story-driven posts about AI automation for a small business. The most important part of this prompt here, guys, is always the humanizing part. So regardless of what you do, I always recommend you to humanize your AI output. This is something that I've learned from Sabrina Ramanov, the creator of Bloat8, and it has made a great difference on my AI output. This is the structure that I want, and basically what I'm telling here is that each post needs to be around 190 to 260 words. Then all that I'm doing here is specifying what the post idea is, the description, and also the research summary. How am I doing that? Basically, I'm just coming here to our first node, and then I drag the post idea, drop it in here, the short description, drop it in here, and the same thing I did with the research summary that is coming from the Tavily node, okay, which is coming actually from our code node here. So just drag it, drop it, and then you can close this. The last thing you are going to do here is just select the model that you want to do this. In my case here, I am using OpenRouter, and our model is the ChatGPT 5 Nano. By the way, this workflow will be available to be downloaded on a link in the description. So let's move on. First of all, let's test this node and see if everything is working. As you can see here, everything is working well so far. So this output here basically will be the text of our post. So this is the equivalent to this part here. Now for you to understand these two nodes here, you need to understand a little bit of what I want. So basically what I want is every LinkedIn carousel will have this structure. The first image will be the hook. Then we are going to have 6 images with lessons. That's why you are seeing here a code node called extract 6 lessons. And then we are going to have a summary of everything that has been learned. And last but not least, we are going to have a call to action, which is follow for more information. Okay, so as a total, we are going to have 9 pages for every LinkedIn post. So as you can see here, I have a node, which is basically a code node, to extract the 6 lessons. So basically this code node here will have a look at the output of the previous node, which is our post, and based on this post, we are going to generate 6 lessons. As you can see here, we have the post, and then we have the lessons. Lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now that we have that, we also need to generate our images. And as you can see, I have a code node here, which is wrongly named because actually the right name should be generate 9 image prompts. But basically what this code node is going to do is it will analyze the text here, and based on that, it will create image prompts so that we can create our images. Let's execute it and see if it's worked well. As you can see here, it's working fine. And we have here the slide number. So everything is fine so far. And again, I will be leaving down this workflow so you can just download it and use it if you want. Okay, now that we have 9 image prompts, what we need to do is to split these image prompts because we need to send one by one to our node that will be responsible for generating the images. So basically I just added a split node here, and I selected that what I want to be split is the prompt. And I specified that what I want to be split is the prompts. So basically I just type in prompts. Why prompts? Because as you can see here, prompts 0, 1, 2, okay? So basically I just type in the name of the object, which is what I want to be splitted. Then once I do that, I can click on execute step. And as you can see here, now we have 9 items as opposed to one big block. Now, what we are going to do here is just go to the next node and use the image prompts for every one of these single images to create the images. Okay, so our next step is to create our images. First of all, I would like to tell you that I'm using this service called Kier API, which allows you to use many different image models to create great stuff. Okay, so just create an account with them. Once you create an account with them, if you come here to API Market, you are going to see your billing information. You probably will need to add some credits. Okay, in my case here, I added $10, which was equivalent to 1,000 credits. And then once you create your account, you go to API keys, create API key, then make sure that you come back here to N8N and create a credential. In my case here, I am adding a HTTP request node. So just come here, type in HTTP request, select that as the node. And once you open this node, you are going to select the method. In our case, here is going to be post because we are sending information to the Kier API. Now, how do you know this information here? The first thing you're going to do is come here to the Kier API, and then if you want, you can just click here, come here to AI API models. In our case, we are using Nano Banana, so just click on Nano Banana. And in my case here, I am using this part that is responsible for generating images. And you come here to API, and as you can see in here, you have all the information. So to create tasks, to create jobs, you are going to use this path here. So if you have a look here, we have the whole URL including that path. This is not something that you need to worry about. If you want to set this up very easily, just copy this URL here and ask any LLM that you like to use, like ChatGPT, Claude, to help you configure this. But in my case here, I just select my credentials that I created. Then you make sure that you leave send headers on, and then you type in exactly this content-type, and the value is going to be application/JSON. Then you turn on send body, and then you leave as JSON using fields below, and then you type in name model and the value Google Nano Banana. Okay, exactly as you can see here. Again, I'm leaving this workflow below on the description so you can download it if you want. Once we have it, now what we need to do is add a wait node here. So I will just activate this wait node again. And basically what I'm doing here is I am sending these images to be created. Then I'm waiting 1 minute. Then I'm checking if those images were created. And if those images were created, then we are going to send it to a specified folder on Google Drive. If not, we are going to send it back to the waiting time, so it will wait a little bit more, and again it will check if the images were created. Basically another HTTP request node where I'm checking, okay, were the images created, and if the images were created, we are going to get here a code 200 that means success, and this means that this data will pass to the next node. Let's execute it and I will show you exactly how this works. So as you can see here, 9 images were created already. So this model Google Banana is really fast, and now we are waiting around 1 minute to make sure that all the images are ready so that we can fetch it and send it to our Google Drive folder. As you can see, everything worked well. 9 images have the status 200, that means success. So basically what I'm doing here is sending those 9 images to a Google Drive folder that I set up. So basically I set up this folder here called LinkedIn Posts, and this automation was created in a way that every time that we run this workflow, a new folder with today's date and time will be created, and all the 9 images will be to that folder. Before that, I just want to show you one thing. If you come back here to Kier, you can see exactly how many credits you spent by doing so. So if you click again here in API Market and you come to logs, you can see everything that you did so far using this service. So if you have a look here, these are the images that we created. So you can have a good idea of how the images will look like. And most importantly, you can control exactly how much credits you are spending. Basically, every time that I run the workflow for this, I am spending around 16 cents in dollar. So here we have this Google Drive node. The resource is going to be folder. The operation will be create, and basically I am saying here that every time that a folder is created, it has to be created with today's date plus the timestamp. And I added this condition of timestamp because maybe you want to run this workflow more than once a day. So in this case, you don't have any conflict because the timestamp will be different. You need to select which Google Drive folder you are talking about. In my case, it's my drive. So if you have a look here, it's my drive. And in this case here, the parent folder is this folder called LinkedIn Posts, and the ID will be here. So just copy that and paste it here. Now let me just click outside here and I will pin this data. So basically I will select the node, press P, and I will also pin this data here. And pin the data just means that if something happens and the workflow refreshes, I don't need to run the workflow again to get that data. Now let's run the Google Drive node and see if a new folder will be created here. Okay, as you can see, a new folder has been created. Let's have a look here. And this is exactly today's date and time. Okay, so the idea now is we are going to grab all the images that were created and put on this folder. To do that, the first thing that we need to do is get the folder ID, which is this ID here, plus the image URLs. And that's why I created this code here. So if we click on execute step, you can see here that we have the image URL and the folder ID. We need this information to every single image so that we can put that image inside the folder that we want. Now we have another HTTP request node that will download all the images that we created so far. Let's click on execute and see how it goes. And as you can see here, every one of our images has been downloaded. Okay, so these are the images that we are going to use to our carousel. And if you want to see them, you can click on view. If you want to download them, you just click on download here. But in our case, what we want now is upload those images to Google Drive, to the folder that we created here. So let's just open this node. And in here, you're going to see that it's a simple Google Drive node where the resource is file, the operation is upload. This is the most important thing that you need to pay attention to in this node, which is the data file. In this case here, you can see that every image has been named as data. So just make sure that you leave this here. And in here, I'm just specifying exactly the image name and the folder that I want those images to go to, which is this folder here. So as you can see, so far there is no images here, but once we click on execute step, so as you can see here, all the images have been uploaded to our Google Drive folder, and these are the images ready to be used for our post. The last step on this automation is just to ensure that our spreadsheet gets its status updated. Okay, so basically I just add a node here, a if node, saying that if this field here, the ID field, is not empty, then this information will pass and the spreadsheet will update the status from to do to schedule. So as you can see here, this is the post that we just created and the status is to do. So if we go back to our automation and click on execute step, you can see here that the status has changed from to do to schedule. So if we come back to our spreadsheet, you can see that the status has changed as well. Okay, the last thing that I recommend you to do is, first of all, as you can see, we automated the whole process of creating the post and the images. But I totally don't recommend you to take these images and try to upload it straight to LinkedIn via the API. They are very strict on that. What I recommend you to do now is simple. Use your favorite design software. In my case, it's Canva. So basically, I just create a new template on Canva. Then you upload those images. And then once you have these images on your favorite editing software, you can improve the final output even more. For example, in my case here, using Canva, I can delete these if I want. So as you can see, this makes the final output way more personalized and premium, so it doesn't give any vibe of AI slop or anything like that. I know it's not 100% automated, but yet you're going to save so much time and have really high quality LinkedIn posts. And now that you know how to use N8N to create this kind of LinkedIn posts, maybe you want to know how to use it paying 80% less and having unlimited executions. And that's exactly what I show you in this video here. Check it out, it will save you a lot of money.